kind of claimed in the election that he will implement that. Okay, and now the time has come because he is in power, and now election is there, it is nearer, so he has to implement whatever he has promised. Now you are very well aware of the negative fiscal implications of the decision because you are finance secretary. Now the state is in revenue deficit, and duty on liquor comprises a significant part of the state revenues, basically because it directly impacts your welfare schemes also later on. So you are already in deficit, and you know the substantial part is coming from it, so you are letting go the substantial part, which is a big problem that is going to be created. Now in the previous administration, during the press conference, you had publicly termed such an idea as suicidal for the state. So basically in public meeting, previous government, you have kind of submitted report or commented basically that it is suicidal because you are letting go, government is letting go their own revenue when they themselves are revenue starved, which is, and here you need to understand one thing. Here you cannot, you are the finance secretary, you are the person who is doing everything. So you cannot judge, you cannot doubt your own judgments that you have come to till now. So, you know, you have to go with whatever you are saying is exactly the truth is. Otherwise, what happens? If you kind of doubt your own things that are given in the case study, what it amounts to is, basically what you are saying is, even if something is very much convinced, I am very much convinced about something, still I will not take that decision because political bosses are telling me, asking me to do something else, which will not be considered good. Now, the government is now wants to implement this election promise, obviously. Given your reputation and efficiency, the chief minister has made you the head of the committee responsible for implementing the policy. Now, you are the one who is given this responsibility to head the committee कि जाओ implement करो and prohibition कर दो. Now the problem here is, as we already discussed, you do not agree to this policy because huge revenue deficit and other things. Okay, so what would you do? What are the issues that are there in your mind? Discuss various dilemmas being faced by you in the given scenario. What are the dilemmas that you face in the given scenario? Would declining the post of head committee responsible for implementing be a suitable option? Why and why not? Basically, you know, you say that because there is a conflict of interest, you know, I am completely against it. Let me take out of it because I will not be able to implement it. That is also one way. Now, explain various options available to you and the most suitable course of action for this particular option. Right? Now, again, we will have what? 4 pages. Okay. Then what happens? In this, now this is proper case study wala case. So what you do? Same cheese. You write the case details. You can mention case details, you can mention brief of the case, you can mention case summary, whichever way you want to mention. Okay. Then comes point number A, that is dilemmas. Okay. Then point number B is about declining the post. Now, in the declining the post, straight away you can write like this: it is suitable as they have asked, or not suitable. The point will be covering as to why it is suitable or why it is not suitable. Okay. Then they are asking what would you do and why. Okay. So declining the post, suitable, not suitable, then you write your answer here. Like for example, my answer will be not suitable. So you write why not suitable. Here somewhere you mention that I will not decline, or not decline will be the right choice for me at this particular moment. Then comes why not suitable. Then you mention as to what are the merits to it. 1, 2, 3, whatever merits of this particular decision. And third is, what options do you have? Okay. So basically, first option is, as we already discussed, decline. Second is continue as and continue as per CM. And 3 is continue but register dissent. Continue but dissent. Now in this case you will choose option 3. Okay, and then you write the why you choose the option 3. Option 3 justification. Point number 1, 2, 3. That's all. This is what the answer will be having, right? Now in the case, what all you write, again what are the facts. Again, this is not subheading, I'm just telling what all points it will be covering. Now here what's important is what is your role and what is your responsibility. Now what is role means what all you can do. Okay, your maximum that you can do, your role that is defined, what work should you be doing, that's what you will be mentioning here. And then second, responsibilities means to what extent you can go, how much is under your prerogative. Okay, so basically how much is under your prerogative means it's a role. Now this much you can do, this more than that you cannot do. Responsibility means what is your responsibility with respect to this, like you should be doing it, you cannot run away from it, you cannot choose not to do anything about it. So you have a responsibility towards people and things like that. Then comes what are the challenges to do the responsibility, to implement the responsibility. And challenges with respect to stakeholders, like generally all the challenges are nothing but the impacts on the stakeholders. If it is too much negative impact on the stakeholder, it becomes a challenge. How to reduce the impact of that becomes another challenge, right? And then comes in this context, what are the ethical values. See, what you need to do is, this part needs a practice. Okay, to write it point wise, to write it like a paragraph. Don't write many subheadings, it doesn't look good, it doesn't look like a proper answer, it looks like you're enlisting something one after the other. What you do is write as a point 1, 2, 3, or maybe as a paragraph, and then underline some kind of words. That's all. But what happens because of this is, what happens is you briefly mention things about the case, and it helps you to think. Then comes automatically the structure gets formulated for you. The moment structure gets formulated on rough paper, there is always a rough paper given, then you mention many points. Now what is dilemma in front of you? Basically intellectual integrity versus administrative responsibility, or to some extent following the orders of the senior also can be with the other side. But intellectual integrity, why? Because you clearly know intellectually, you have come up with the conclusion that this is going to be a problematic thing. Then Obviously, if you don't follow it, you are actually lacking intellectual integrity. For some other reason, you are not following whatever you think is right for the people and other things. Okay, in the here stakeholders, people at large also should be mentioned. Why? Because it's about prohibition. It's a sensitive issue. So allowing it or not allowing prohibition to happen, also going to increase the consumption of the liquor. That is going to create health issues. That is going to create a kind of burden on the public health, because poor will have many more problems with respect to consumption of liquor and things like that. Right? So mention about intellectual integrity versus administrative responsibility as to what exactly dilemma. This is exactly the dilemma that I am having in front of me. Now what should be done in this particular case? Now declining the post is suitable. In what way it is suitable? Number one, avoid conflict of interest. Avoid conflict of interest तो नहीं बोल सकते, avoid cognitive dissonance. Basically what you avoid is avoid cognitive dissonance. So here avoid cognitive dissonance. Why? Because then you know something is wrong and still you're kind of forced to do it. So it's better to avoid it. That is the one way you decline it. Okay. Then sending a strong message, that is also a positive thing. So what happens generally? New person will be much more careful about it, saving the administration from future issues, fiscal crunch and things like that. Okay. Now, why it is not suitable? Because it is responsibility. So basically running away from responsibility. Okay. Then the one who replaces for sure will go against, and that will be a problem to the state finances later on. Okay. So third is people at large. Now people at large as a beneficiary of welfare scheme will certainly be hampered because state does not have money. So how would you state implement any welfare scheme for that matter? So though, you know, kind of here, see, one more thing suitable, because prohibition, positive thing will be prohibition will bring in less consumption of liquor, but then, you know, that is a plus point here. So that's why it's suitable, because if you decline, somebody else will certainly implement it, because anyway CM will put someone else there. Then there is another not suitable, means CM's trust is there, rapport is there, your efficiency, your image is also about responsible administrator and all that will also go away. So these things going negative. So I will not decline is my decision. Now why not suitable? The same point, but the only thing is now you have to write from the point of view of just mention the ethical issues. Okay, so courage and fortitude is compromised. Otherwise, or here it is upheld. So if I'm doing it, I'll do it. Now my contribution continues. So I can still contribute and try to at least change some. Okay, at least lessen the negative impact to the extent possible. To the extent possible. So there is no point in running away, because as long as I am inside, I can do something. If I go out, I have no control over it, because anyway CM is much more having much more authority than what I have. And anyway, you need to understand one more thing here. What he is implementing is what he promised, and perhaps because of this promise, people have voted for him. The very interesting thing, very important thing, that people have voted for him because of these things. So we cannot kind of overrule that single person sitting thinking that what I am thinking is correct and what CM and the people in general thinking are wrong, because you never know, people might have voted because of this thing, larger public, like especially if in the case of rural places of India, the women folks might have voted for the particular person basically because they were expecting कि prohibition आ जाएगा तो हम बच जाएंगे, हमारी जिंदगी बच जाएगी, ठीक है. So you decline, continue and continue but descend. So you will take the third option. Now here there will be little bit repetition, but here what you do is in the justification you just trying to, there is also course of action also, no? So not justification, option 3 course of action. They have not asked justification because justification is already covered here. So write course of action, and in course of action always try to mention whenever the option ka course of action is there is always a point when you write 1, 2, 3, there is always a effort should be efforts to minimize. I already told this in the lecture also, effort to minimize demerits, and you have to mention something here. What are the demerits of this decision? Okay, like for example, you have to maybe required to implement it, maybe you are kind of forced to implement it, but then at least try for some compromise. Okay, lesser possible impact on finances. These things, these kind of things should be kind of talked about. Okay, and long-term fiscal impact is the most important thing, and something is coming against it is the most problem thing is now political bosses. It is like CM, for example, is nothing but representative of the people. So it's very difficult to deny these things, though it is going to be fiscally problematic, be it okay, kind of try for some other mechanisms. That's why like try for other revenue sources. Option नहीं है तो वो तो कम से कम करेंगे. So whenever you write option and you are required to write some option wala thing and some course of action, this should be always added. Please, I'm rewriting it for your efforts to minimize demerits. Please always make sure that it will be, even they have not asked it, let it be part of the course of action. ठीक है? Is this noted? Very important, and this very few people do. That's why it will be an advantage for us if we do it, right?